Faso says it has foiled a coup plot by forces loyal to ousted President Blaise Compaore. The Interior Ministry says at least 10 of the plotters have been arrested, but the top suspects are still on the run. It says the coup was to have been staged on 8th October with an attack on the presidential palace.
According to the Interior Ministry, the coup was planned for the 8th of October and called for detaining certain authorities. Blaise Compaore was forced from power in October 2014, this following a popular uprising against his attempts to change the constitution to remain in office. The attempted 2015 coup was staged by troops from the Presidential Guard loyal to the ex-leader. However, it was blocked by street protesters and by the army, which attacked the plotters' barracks. Meanwhile, reports say that government earlier this week released Army Colonel Mamadou Bamba. He was allegedly involved in last year's abortive coup. The country held elections late last year, where Roch Kabore was elected president.
And now for some analysis on this story, we are now joined by Dr. David Zunmeno, a senior researcher from the Institute of Security Studies. He joins us from our Pretoria studio. Dr. Zunmeno, thanks for joining us and welcome. Now, Burkina Faso has been unstable for a while now. Were you surprised by the news of this attempted coup?
Not at all, because Burkina Faso is still trying to fine-tune the political process that emanated from a very vigorously opposed political transition following the forced exit of Blaise Compaore, plus some unresolved issues, particularly regarding the presidential guards, whose dissolutions has not been accepted by some top officials within the movement. So I think Burkina Faso is in for a long, unless there is some serious thought around the reform of the whole security apparatus of the country.
Now, besides the presidential guard, does the former president really still command some support, not just in the country, but in other parts of the military as well?
Probably. I think having held the control of the military for over 27 years, you don't lose influence so quickly. Plus, he's living next door in Côte d'Ivoire, which is one of the contentious points in the relationship between Burkina Faso and Côte d'Ivoire so far. Though it might be very difficult to link him with the current situations, I think some elements within the presidential guard might want to act on their own behalf to defend to maybe oppose the dissolution of the presidential guard, the loss of advantages that they used to have, or simply to bring to art the political process that's going on. But very importantly also to simply disrupt the trial that is going to take place next month, that will bring to book some of the responsible of the last year coup, including General Gilbert Gendere, very close to Blaise Compaore, and the head of presidential guard until the military coup in September last year.
Now, the coup, from the information we have, was to have been staged on the 8th of October with an attack on the presidential palace. Now, is there any particular reason that that announcement is being made at least this 2 weeks later? Why so much time?
I think it's for strategic reason, but also to make sure that they gather all the evidence necessary to be able to make those allegations, because, you know, we have two scenarios in Africa when it comes to military coups. One is the imaginary one when the government made them to simply weaken some opposition leaders within the country. And the second one might be a genuine attempt to topple the government institutions, which is actually the case. And let me just remind you that Burkina Faso have been seeing acts of violence, from terrorist attacks to political movement within the country. Those who have not yet accepted the democratization process of the country, and attempts have not yet been made to unify the army and sort out some of the key issues that continue to undermine the legitimacy, the unity, but also the coherence within the military establishment in Burkina Faso.
Now, we know that the General Gilbert Ndere, the head of Blaise Compaore's presidential guard, is still in detention for seizing power in September of 2015. Now, in your view, are there further threats of possible future attempts to seize power in Burkina Faso?
I think it will be extremely difficult given the regional and international context, and we've seen how the social forces in Burkina Faso really opposed the coup attempt in September 2015. With that experience in mind and with the determination of the young or the youth movement in Burkina Faso to give a chance to the democratization process in Burkina Faso, it will be extremely difficult for anyone to attempt any coup d'etat in Burkina Faso. But it does not exclude some acts of violence, like terrorist acts that will combine external forces and Burkinabe disgruntled soldiers who are still very much contemplating the possibility to undermine peace and stability in the country. And we also looking at the border between Burkina Faso and Mali. On the one hand, some of the assailants most of the time seek retreat in those areas where the state authority is very weak and where there's no absolute control over the movement. I think some of the attacks that Burkina Faso experienced came from that area. So the country is actually at the crossroads of some threat that the government need to pay attention to make sure that the political situation remains stable and democracy is given a chance to prosper.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for your insights. That was Dr. David Zunmeno, the senior researcher at the Institute for Security Studies, talking to us from our Pretoria studios.